Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, doing a little basement crafting this Saturday, and I'm actually going to be giving away the stamps that I used today. I'm going to show you how to make this simple thank you card with some embossed work on the front, and it's neat because we're just going to get a little bit of embossing on the inside, and you'll still end up with a flat card that you can write on. We're going to do some stamping and some watercoloring, and these stamps I'm using are from artneko.com, and I'll put links down below so you can find these if you want to get them for yourself. Or, of course, I'll have a giveaway on my blog so you could win them too. So that's always fun. So what I've done, I actually just got this stamp set in the mail, and I didn't have a chance to mount it yet. So I'm just going to show you a little tip that I have. When I have stamps, I'm really excited to use them, but I haven't got a chance to mount them yet. What I'm doing is actually just inking up the portion I want. And this is really good if you've got something you're going to cut out, because as you can see, I'm getting ink on the outside areas, so you know that would show up. I wouldn't want to do it on something where I need the surrounding area to be pristine, because even if I go in with a baby wipe and wipe that, I still might get some staining. So I just wanted to give you that tip if you're if you got a brand new stamp set and you're itching to try it. Also, I find it's for some of my stamps, my ATC stamps, like the 50 state bird set that I have from them, I keep them all like this because I'm just so afraid that I'll lose them if I cut them apart. So if it's something that you're going to cut out and color, it's an ideal situation. I'm stamping on 90-pound watercolor, hot press watercolor paper from Fabriano. I get it at Blick. It's very affordable. It comes in a pack of 75 sheets, and it's quite affordable. So there, you can see I've got a perfect impression, and I'm going to cut it out so it's not a big deal. I'll wipe this off with a baby wipe. I do find that I get some staining with the waterproof archival ink. So I'm going to use my rubber stamp cleaner that's homemade. It's simple green and water, and I usually use a 1 part simple green to 10 parts water. I'll use more simple green if I'm finding that it's not really cleaning my stamps. I got to get a rag for this here. Excuse me for a second. There we go. I just wanted to get any stamp off. It'll stain a bit. I'm not worried about the staining, but I do want it clean. All right, so then what I'm going to do is just quickly trim this out and let it set for a moment before I watercolor it. But we've got lots of different things to do for this card, so that's all right. That's all right. We'll have time to let that dry. And I'm going to show you another tip here. Notice how I'm using like kind of office supply scissors with really long blades. These are great when you don't want to get out the paper trimmer and you want to trim around something, because it's a lot easier to keep a nice straight line with these long bladed scissors. So that's good enough, I think. I'm going to set this aside, and on this scrap of watercolor paper I am going to stamp this Heartfelt thanks stamp, and this is from a sentiment stamp from Art Neko, and I just got this too, so I just cut out the sentiment that I needed, and I will put a link to this as well. It's packed full of sentiments, so it may, if you're starting out, if you don't have a lot of sentiments put on your cards, sayings, greetings, it's great to have those. All right, so I just actually cut it out, took a glue stick and stuck it to this block because I didn't have a chance to mount it yet. I like to put my sentiments on actual wood blocks, so I'll probably be hunting through my husband's scrap wood pile to get some blocks for these, because I prefer to have my wood mount stamps permanently mounted so I can just grab and go, and I keep them all out where I can see them on the shelf. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is just stamp it. Oh, I should have had that a little bit higher so you could see. Let me just... Well, you can see how well it stamped. Sorry I had that a little out of frame. I'm a little out of sorts today because I've been working upstairs a lot. Actually, I haven't worked. I did film a couple episodes for our local news channel down here the other day, but for the most part I've been working upstairs because it's just warmer. So there you can see how nicely that stamps, even without cushion. That's just a glue stick onto that block. So, a little out of sorts. So what I've done here is I took a half sheet of Recollections 110-pound cardstock, which I really like for my card bases. I picked it up at Michael's last summer when I was going to a stamp show, and I really enjoyed this this dotty paper. This is from the So Sophie collection. I got this at EC Moore for like $3. I think it's still available. It's one of the My Mind's Eye 6x6 packs, and I like the 6x6 packs because I don't feel like I'm wasting a full sheet of paper when I cut into it. Like when I'm getting into a 12x12 sheet, I feel like I'm kind of wasting paper if I don't use the whole thing. And I like having that versatility. It's funny, we all have our own little quirks, it's like, oh, I can't possibly cut into a 12x12 paper even though I have, about 1,000 sheets or more probably, honestly. All right, now I've adhered that to the bottom of my card, so I'm just going to trim off the excess. And then what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it off camera, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I've just got this lovely pattern here, this Doris embossing folder, and what I'm going to do is just put it on this side of the card, so I'm not going to end up embossing the inside where I'm going to write. So there's a little tip for you, and I like embossing the paper too, the pattern paper and the regular paper, because it just gives it a kind of a quilted look. So I'm going to pause the camera and we'll come back after this is all done. Alright, to make my embossing stand out, I'm just using a little bit of ink here. I didn't emboss it too deeply, I just wanted a very subtle texture here, so I had no tabs on my Big Shot platform. I just had, I had both tabs like out of the way, I guess you'd say, and I used my plates just to get a little soft emboss. I was afraid it might cut through my paper too. It just felt too tight going through there with the one tab like it's recommended to. So there you go. I just wanted to let you know that. All right, now we're going to do some watercoloring, and set that out of the way. So I've got my little image here with my goat, my ram. It's a Year of the Ram set, and I've got my little heartfelt thanks here. So I'm just going to start watercoloring. I've got a just a little like number 5 round brush. And my watercolors. I'm just using, use whatever ones you have. These are just my Yarkas. They will be fine for this. I'm going to go in with a little bit of cobalt blue. Just do my background up here. Very quickly. I am not going to fuss about it too much. Just want to get some color in there. Sometimes with a stamp you have to kind of decide whether it's like whether this is water or this is grass. I think it's grass, so I'm gonna put grass in there, but you know, it's up to you what you put in yours. A little bit of, a couple different shades of green. I'm gonna start with some darker green here at the bottom, because I think it would be a little bit more shadowed by those rocks that are there. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of lemon, cadmium lemon in there, just to brighten it up. And since this is hot press watercolor paper rather than cardstock, it is it's not going to buckle. So that's nice. Hot press just basically means that it's pressed with hot rollers when it's made, as opposed to being pressed with cold rollers. So cold press paper can also be referred to as not, because it's not hot pressed, which is kind of silly that that's how they refer to it, but that's how they do it. You know, now that I look at this closer, I think this is actually water, but it's going to be grass now because I've already painted it green. Unless it's really gross murky water, and I don't want gross murky water in my thing. All right, mix some gray really quick. Actually, I've already got some mixed on my palette, so I'm going to go ahead and paint these rocks in that our ram is on. 2015, Year of the Ram. It's funny because, as you know, if you've spent a lot of time online in different communities, you get to know people from all around the world. And you know, I've recently got to know some people from China, and they're getting ready to have their spring celebration, and it's just neat. It's neat the different things that the other parts of the world celebrate. Their biggest holidays is kind of when we don't have anything going on, you know, in the United States so much, you know, where Christmas and Thanksgiving is done, and you know, it's funny, their big holidays are just gearing up. All right, I'll put a little bit of this brown color in here too. I'm not gonna worry about it too much. And you can add some color into the rocks and it will blend out because your paint is still wet. All right, now for our ram, I'm gonna use some yellow ochre for the horns. Go ahead and use, you know, you could use the markers for this. Just make sure whatever marker you're using the appropriate ink pad. And use some browns. I just try to make sure my paint and paper is wet enough so that it will just kind of flow and blend, and then I don't have to worry so much about shading or anything. Alright, and I think I might have put a little purpley color in there too for shadows. Just help the ram stand out a little bit. Alright, and I want to make the horns a little bit darker, so I'm actually going to wipe off my brush. Just get in there with that yellow ochre paint. And paint them in. And I'm going to set this aside and let it dry. And for the Heartfelt thanks, I just want to get a little bit of green on there. Kind of that nice, bright, springy green. A little lemon in there. A little darker on the edges. And if I've got too much yellow, I can just wipe it out. And this is archival ink, so it's waterproof. I really am enjoying that. I used to use the Stampin' Up! A lot, but they've changed it, so I haven't been using it. All right, so now let's start building our card. Actually, let me pause it and dry our elements up, and then we'll be right back. I just realized I forgot to paint our little Chinese little hut there. So I'm just going to use a little English red, which is kind of like a brownish red. I did use a little bit of that in the ram's body there. I'm going to go ahead and just very loosely paint that little hut in on the background. It will dry a little bit lighter. So I'm going to dry that. We'll be right back again. Okay, now we can put our card together. Here we have our card base. And I die cut this little shape out of just a couple of the scraps of paper from the same paper pack. I just like to take the pieces together sometimes and then just die cut some shapes. Just makes it a little interesting, and it's a fun way to get some more patterns into your work. I am gonna tone the pattern down a little bit by inking the edges, and I'm gonna use it on its side like that so it's symmetrical. And I'm gonna just glue it down. I'm gonna use hot glue because I know it's gonna stick. You can use your favorite glue, anything that's going to stick it down good, like a foam tape or strong adhesive. And then I'm going to center our little sentiment there, and I do want to ink the edges on that as well, just to help finish it off. I freehand cut that, so hopefully it's pretty well, you know, a real rectangle. But you never quite know when you're hand cutting. But really, I mean, who cares? It's like somebody's not going to get that in the mail and say, well, I could tell she hand cut that one. That one's going right in the trash. She did not do her best. Nobody's going to say that. We're our own worst critics. Alright, and then we're going to put that guy right there. Again, I'm just doing the hot glue on the back. And when I do it though, I don't put it right to the edge because I want a little wiggle room. If I don't stick it down in the exact right place right off the bat, I can shove it over a little bit without having glue seep out the edges. So that's why I do that. I'm pretty good with the hot glue because I've used it so much. Now for an embellishment, I've got these little sparkles. They're from Michael's. Probably any craft store has them. They're in with the floral decorations, and I like them because they're clear and I can color them with my markers to match my card. And I'm using this this glue was a steal of a deal. It's a Beacon 3-in-1, and it was $2.50 at Ocean State Job Lot. Yeah, I don't know if you have those. I don't know if they're all over the country or if they're just a New England thing, but they had a ton of this, and I used to use the Helmar 450, but man, that stuff was like $9 a bottle, and the store that I used to buy it at closed, so I was really happy when my friend Cindy told me about this stuff and that it was super cheap, so I grabbed a few bottles of it, and I'm really happy with it. So that's the Beacon 3-in-1. And if you have an Ocean State Job Lot, you can get it for cheap. I don't know what it goes for normally. On the other card, I had a sparkle right there, but I don't think I really have room for it on this one. I'm going to use some markers to color my sparkles. I'm going to try this light one first, see if it'll be dark enough. I feel like I want it a little bit darker than that. You can go over in a couple layers and see if that's dark enough. I think I want it maybe a little bit darker, so I'm going to use this darker purple. You don't need to be too exact. I think I did get a little mark on the edge, but I'm not going to worry about it. And there you have it. It's a fun card that you can make. You could, you know, kind of play with those watercolors, play with mixing your pattern paper, have a good time, and of course make sure you go over to my blog, The Frugal Crafter. I'll put a link down below in the video description so you can leave a comment, sign up to win these beautiful stamps from artneko.com. I'll also put a link to these stamps in the video description. They have a lot of 50% off sales and just fabulous people, fabulous products too. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Until next time, happy crafting.